My psycho parents are in a religious cult. I just found sacrifices in the attic. Should I call the cops?
It's for religious reasons.
You know what the sacrifices in the attic are?
What?
Their dreams when they had you. So my parents are very secretive people. I always assumed that's just how parents were. Along with this, they were legit obsessed with the attic. When we moved into this house, 4 floors, 1 attic, I wanted to have more room in there as it had the most space and I could put all my workout equipment there. But they demanded that I stay on the second floor, which eventually turned into a screaming match between me, my mom, and my stepdad. I caved and moved into the second floor. And to apologize, they let me stay at my cousin's house in Massachusetts for the next 2 weeks as they moved more and more stuff in. They had to apologize for giving you a whole fucking floor?
Bro, OP.
And you didn't help move stuff in?
You're kind of coming off as the a-hole already.
Dude,
like,
oh my God. When I came back, the attic door was locked. Like, I'm talking paranoid grandpa in apartment locked. I never minded it. After all, it was an attic. And when I asked my mom about it, she'd simply say they used it for storage. Odd, but both my grandma and dad had died a few years before and left behind a lot of stuff, so I believed her. I caught glimpses of the inside over the following weeks. It was oddly underdeveloped compared to the second, third, fourth, and first floors. And there was a toilet in the back of it so I could see through the darkness. Fast forward to today, I wake up and have to take a shit. I made the mistake of eating 3 cheese sandwiches yesterday. Whoops. Fucking spoiled brat. So I check on the second floor. Stepdad is in the bathroom downstairs. Sister's in the bathroom. I know that the basement is empty and full of spiders, so I refuse to go down there. And the third floor doesn't have a bathroom. I also overheard my mom talking about going upstairs to do something.
like...
masturbate. So I decided to cut my losses and release the horde in the attic. The place looks pretty normal at first glance. There's a weird amount of paper on the floor that's peeling off and the windows are blocked, but that's it. I go to the bathroom, use the bathroom, and leave. But I noticed that there's almost nothing up there despite my mom's claims of it being a storage room. So I just look around for shits and giggles. I opened a door which I wouldn't be able to see from the attic stairs, as it is to the left of the door that lets you into the attic, and I find a shrine. It has pictures of my dead dad, grandma, and me on it. It's nothing hereditary level, but it's certainly off-putting considered the thing is surrounded by dolls, and there's also a couple of cardboard boxes around the place with literal birds inside. I want to say I'm kidding, but these are actual fucking birds in them. I know this because on a run through the Bronx, we went to the halal market thing or whatever, and they packed birds into these boxes with holes in them. I imagine live
so they're
birds.
alive?
They were alive. I think they may be dead.
What the fuck is going on?
This isn't proof of a cult, I understand, but this, coupled with some recent changes, has really led me to believe that my parents are going through some weird stuff. Ever since my grandma and dad died, my mom has gotten really deep into faith and has become friends with this priestess based in Cuba. I don't know her name. I have met her, and she does live streams on Facebook. Again, something relatively normal until I saw that her photo is on the fucking shrine as well. It's hard to see, but it's behind the candle. My parents have also been talking to me about my 16th birthday and have told me they are going to mark my head, followed by a laugh, which I assumed was always some kind of weird joke. I'm genuinely concerned and confused and don't know how to bring this up to them. And there is an update.
Mark my head sounds like they're putting a hit on her.
I know.
Are they?
It sounds like they're gonna decapitate OP.
Is this cult the mafia? Like,
dude, I don't fucking know.
This is really weird.
But also, like, this sounds crazy, but there have been and continue to be religious cults all over the US. Let us know if you joined a sex cult or any kind of cult. Put your answers in the comments. And you're on the ground floor, baby.
And we are your leaders. Follow us.
So, reasoned out that my parents probably weren't going to sacrifice me to some demonic pagan god or whatever. So, just in case, I told a friend that I was going to be online on COD within the next 2 hours, and that if I wasn't online at that point, he should probably come over to my house as my signal might have fucked up. Dumb lie, I know. And in the meantime, I just went downstairs and asked my mom what the deal was with the shrine upstairs. My mom is a bit stubborn, so she acted confused confused for a moment, but when I pushed further, she cracked and started talking when I asked questions. She told me that we are Catholic, and like many commenters on the post said, as it turns out, they practice an Afro-Cuban religion called Santeria, which is essentially a mix of Catholicism and a lot of African beliefs. The altar with all the photos is called a boveda and acts as a tunnel between earth and heaven. She put the photos of me there because she thinks it will let the spirit of my dad and of my grandma protect me. A little weird, but all right. At least it was done with good intentions, I guess. Eventually, I bring up the elephant or bird in the room and ask about the severed deer, goat/lamb, and she said it was a thing for Orisha called Achosi that has to do with hunting, I think. Then we talked more about the stuff around. Thankfully, the rock was not covered in blood, just some kind of weird alcohol. And then we got to the bird thing. It was the first time in forever that I was genuinely scared of my mom. She just casually explained that she would murder and has been murdering animals for years. I think she caught on to what I was getting at and promised that it was only farm animals and that she did it humanely by decapitating them or cutting some arteries so they bleed out quickly. Yikes. But again, I wanted to have an open mind, so I cringed in my mind and asked more questions. Most went nowhere, but the one that really fucked me up was when I asked how long they've been doing this. 30 years.
Wow.
30 fucking years they've been into this and they never told me about it. My cousins know. My aunts and uncles know. My grandma knew. My dad knew. Virtually everyone in my extended family knew except for me. What? And you know what the worst part is? My mom and dad weren't introduced to it or sucked in by someone else. They were the people introducing it to others. They're the cult leaders. My dad was something called a Santero or Santera or whatever that acts like a priest or fortune teller. He came over to the United States and met my mom and was the one to get her into Santeria and then introduced it to my grandma who immigrated not too long afterwards, and they practice it together. So I patched things up with my mom and stepdad, learned about the situation with the stuff in the attic, and it for the most part ended well. I'm not going to report them to anyone, but I am also not joining the Church of Santeria.
Wow. We've never had a situation like this, I think.
No.
1,000 stories.
Talk about fucking skeletons in the closet.
Oh, literally.
Fucking skeletons in the attic.
Murdered birds in the attic.
Birds. Anyway, what the fuck is this story?
That is a great question. How do they hide this from their child? Like, because most parents, they like introduce them to the religion that they follow.
Well, I guess maybe this is the introduction.
I guess, but like,
give OP a couple years. OP is gonna be like, damn, these birds looking pretty sexy.
But that's like, usually it's like you inundate them like from, you know, day one.
Yeah.
How at year 16 are you going to get them? You have like 2 years realistically.
That's actually true. Yeah. You got to start early. If
and
you're
something
is
like, they have to have some sort of sense that this is like different.
Yeah. If I was to indoctrinate my kids into a religious cult, I would start early.
There we go.
So start early.
0. Yeah.
But John, you know what else we should start with?
What?
This next story.
A pimp has a hit out on me and my family. Should I run away? Am I the a-hole?
Nice, just join the business.
So a few weeks ago, I extremely regret even thinking about hooking up with an escort. Yeah. I contacted an escort that I found on a website through a text on my phone. Stupid of me not to use a fake number.
You got a text on your phone that said escorts in your area and then you decided to respond?
Dude, you're so dumb. After an hour, she was still texting me and I said the price was too high. I told her that I only had $120 to spend and she strangely accepted. Her initial offer was $350 per hour. I asked if I could pay in cash, but she said that she only does Bitcoin for first clients and that I could pay in cash later.
Bitcoin? Oh, that's bullshit, dude. Fuck you. OP, you're getting scammed. You're getting scammed.
She told me the location of this store with a Bitcoin exchange. While I was walking to the store, she sent me some nudies. Somewhere along the line, I asked her if half the money could be paid in cash and half could be in Bitcoin, and she accepted. I told her it was difficult because I barely had a data connection for her to guide me through it inside the building. Eventually, after walking inside and out a bunch of times to confirm the exchange through my phone and receive more instructions from her, I became frustrated and asked why she couldn't drive there and have me pay her in cash.
Because you're getting scammed, OP.
Yep. She gave me some weird explanation about the agency requiring the Bitcoin transaction as a confirmation or something. something. I kept telling her I couldn't, but she seemed desperate that I did, so I guess I kind of tried. But I got sick of walking in and outside of the store for a phone data connection, so I gave up and told her I couldn't. I also kind of felt religiously guilty about doing it.
Guilty because of religion.
He's guilty so frequently, he's religiously guilty.
It seems like the communication is really hard. You know what he needs? 2 dead birds. Instantly have a freaking Centaria connection with her, bro.
I left and the store owner asked if I was going to return. I told him no, and then he closed the store. She didn't believe me when I told her that the store was closed. She then began threatening to expose me or whatever for wasting her time, and she claimed that the agency lost money or something. I still refused. She made me a deal to do it tomorrow, and I still refused. I felt really guilty religiously about contracting a sex worker.
Switch to Centaria, bro. It's all good. It's all gravy.
I asked her where I was going to be reported/exposed or whatever, and she said, "You'll see." The whole thing did seem a bit shady, and she did seem very desperate that I pay her in Bitcoin because it's a scam. Oh my God.
This is hard to hear.
Yeah. On to the threat, the important part. So a week or so later, some guy contacted me about wasting time. I deleted the message and blocked the number. Come today, a new number contacted me. It began with like 12 gory images of people being brutally beaten up or offed in one way or another. The accompanying message was, "Hey sir," 2 times, and this was paraphrased and shortened. "We are communicating directly from the Escort agency. We have evidence you were talking to one of my girls, and I have evidence while she was talking to you. She stopped talking to several clients who had separate appointments. Those clients canceled appointments because of the mistake you made in my agency's system to waste time. The agency lost $4,000, but I won't charge you that much."
$4,000? Bro, they're fucking bleeding that business dry.
"You're going to have to pay a fine of $750. If you do not solve this problem, I will tear your head and your relatives. This happens with everybody that plays with us, wastes our time with my agency and my girls. Solve this or not." He had horrible English.
Okay, I mean, this is obviously a progression of the scam.
I was extremely scared. I deleted all gory images but one, screenshotted the message, and buried it somewhere in my phone's files from plain sight. What do I do? Is this a scam I can't ignore?
It's a scam!
It's a scam. Should I contact the police? Will I get in trouble for contacting a sex worker? I'm pretty sure they're illegal here in Wisconsin. Oh my God, OP,
My
you are
sweet,
painfully
beautiful
stupid.
angel.
You are so stupid.
So dumb.
Goes on a website from a random text message on his phone.
I didn't realize people fell for that.
I mean, there has to be someone who falls for it, otherwise they wouldn't do it, right?
That's true. That's true. But it's like old people. Like this guy's in a college town.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, maybe he's an older guy living in a college town. I don't know.
Man, this guy is an idiot.
He is so dumb.
Maybe you deserve to be torn limb from limb. No, you don't deserve that. You don't deserve that. But you at least deserve chlamydia.
I hope you learned your lesson. This is not good.
Again, it's a scam. But what I'd love to know from our audience is, have you ever hired a sex worker? Strippers count. Do strippers count? If the stripper gave a blowjob, it counts. Or a hand job. All right. Before I dig myself a bigger hole, let's go to the next story.
Let's go.
Mother-in-law was stalking me and ruining my marriage, and now she's missing. Am I the asshole for being relieved?
You know, there's levels to this. You know what I mean?
Was she opened up and had drugs stuffed inside her and then closed up and then snuck across the border to traffic drugs?
That would be terrible.
Real story that happened to my mom's friend.
That's insanity.
I can tell that story later. My mother-in-law and I never had a good relationship. She has tried to sabotage my relationship with my husband since the day she met me. I wasn't good enough for a handsome and successful little boy. I contemplated ending my relationship several times, but my husband always showed me that he is on my side, and I love him. A few years ago, I started getting very threatening and scary emails and texts from a PAX. What's a PAX? Riley, what's a PAX? Capital P, yeah. If you know what this means, let us know. This PAX knew everything about me. It didn't matter how many emails and phone numbers I changed, they or he always found me. I made several reports, but nothing happened. My husband tried everything to trace the emails. Nothing came out of it. This past year, I basically never left the apartment alone. Suddenly, my mother-in-law passed away in a car accident. The same time, my stalker disappeared. I haven't received a single threatening text or email from PAX in a month. After a few days, I wasn't surprised. Felt like I always knew it was mother-in-law deep down. My husband hasn't reacted yet. He's consumed with his grief, and I don't want to bother him, especially when he bitterly told me, "You must be very pleased now," when he heard the news, and I tried to comfort him. He apologized later and said he was feeling guilty equally, and he loved and chose me more than he loved her. Now I'm waiting for him to connect the dots. Will he get it? If he does, will he talk to me about it? I don't know if I will ever bring it up to him. Also, I won't relax and go back to my normal life just yet, but I know it in my heart that it's over and I can't be happier about my life. And she's saying the stalking is over from the mother-in-law. And there is an update.
I really hate how the husband is like, oh, I loved you more and chose you over her. It's like, it's not like a
competition. But I think probably because of how the mom acted, she was like, choose me over her.
someone who would do that to their daughter-in-law.
Yeah, fucking nuts.
Absolute insane person.
But I do have an update. So I was here maybe a month ago. If I find it, I will post it. Talking about me suspecting that my mother-in-law was my stalker who tormented me for years. I was trying to get advice about whether or not to tell my husband who was mourning her. I decided to wait a little, but after venting here, I was sure that she was my stalker. I started living like I never did before, with 10-minute walks alone, then 50, and then half hour, and so on. So literally, OP wouldn't go outside because of this.
So insane.
At first, my husband didn't notice my freedom, or maybe he did, but was processing it himself. Last Friday, I told him that I was going out with the girls, alone. Yes. Want me to drive you there? No need. Are you not afraid anymore? No. My stalker won't bother me ever again. He kissed me and wished me a nice evening. When I came home around midnight, he was still up. He said that he wanted to talk to me. He asked me, was my mother your stalker? Yes. He broke down crying. He said he had always suspected her and even talked to her a couple times about it, and she made him so guilty by accusing him of being my simp. He said he noticed how after so many years of fear and anxiety, it suddenly stopped. And eventually the crying in my sleep stopped too. And he noticed that I haven't woken him up for a month now. I actually don't remember half of the time I woke him up in terror, but he always told me and my therapist about it whenever it happened. He apologized for never discussing it with me and never protecting me from his family, even though he had his suspicions. Honestly, I'm not even mad or disappointed. If the police couldn't help me, I don't know how much my husband could have done, and I just want to move on and leave this behind. We're going to start couples therapy, and my husband is planning to tell his family that mother-in-law was my stalker. He's adamant about it, and honestly, I think it's a good idea. My husband has also decided not to attend the headstone setting on mother-in-law's grave. Damn, crazy situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, imagine finding that out about your mother.
I know, I couldn't imagine. But it sounds like OP was already suspicious, so it might be something that this mother does, you know?
Yeah. God. We get some bad mother-in-law stories on the show. This is like insidious, evil. This is beyond just like being an asshole.
Yeah, this is an evil person. And it's not like it was just online or whatever. This crept into OP's life. She wouldn't leave the house without her husband.
Completely. And also like their lives together, like she's like, God.
Yeah, so terrible. But I mean, yeah, what would you do in this situation if you were the husband and you realized that your mother was tormenting your significant other?
Yeah.
I would love to know what you would do. Put the answers in the comments below.
Please do. And with that,
we're going to leave you on depression.
Yep.
Get the press. Actually, no, we're not going to leave you on depression. Hey, did you know we have a Patreon? We literally release ad-free podcast episodes. We have Patreon exclusive episodes.
That's right.
And we do this thing, Assholes Anonymous, where basically we read stories with you and we even read your story. So check the link in the description. Join. We'd love to have you there.
Hope to see you there. Peace.
Hopefully that's better than the depression.
Than the sadness that you just had.
Yeah.
Be happy.